Welcome everybody to another just-in-time video. Last week I discussed how Star Wars was a big impact on my life and how I really love Star Wars. And today I'm here to talk to you guys about another series that I really loved growing up. And it wasn't until the early 2000s that I was first introduced to this series, a series of many videos that spawned many decades, many actors, many games on many platforms, many novels, and that is the James Bond movie series. I first experienced James Bond in the early 2000s when I went to a local library to rent a VHS, and that VHS was Goldfinger, which is my all-time favorite James Bond movie for many reasons. You know, the story is really great, but it's very nostalgic for me because that's the one I watched a lot. Sean Connery is the best James Bond there is, but we'll get a little bit later. But right now I just want to talk about some of the things that I really love about James Bond growing up. Is that when I first watched Goldfinger, I was like, this is really cool. And for me, about 8-9 years old, you know, a lot of kids in the neighborhood wanted to watch some new action films like Spider-Man around that time. But I was focused on this 60s James Bond film that was really old, and not many of my kids in my neighborhood wanted to watch it. But there I was watching Goldfinger. Then I rented Dr. No and From Russia with Love, and thereon I watched them all in order, rented them all from the library. I really enjoyed watching all the James Bond movies. I went and bought a lot of them from local VHS stores. I have different variations. Somewhere around this house I have them. But I just loved watching James Bond. It really got some of the other kids interested when they released some games on the PS2. When I was really younger, I got a PS2 for Christmas, and I got some games on there, and I really don't remember the games, but it was really awesome when I found out they had James Bond games. And I still have a couple of them, not with me, but I have some of them I play now. I used to play like Everything or Nothing that I have for the GameCube. Nightfire I had for the PS2, which was a really fun game. I don't think a lot of people talked a lot about it, but I had that one. And there was another one that was based around Pierce Brosnan. I forgot what its name, but I have some of the newer ones like Bloodstone for the PS3 and Legends for the PS3 and GoldenEye for the 64 and the Nintendo Wii as well. I just loved playing those games, and I played them hours on hours. Some of the kids in my neighborhood would come over to my grandma's house and we would play the James Bond games on hours. It was so much fun. One vivid memory I have about James Bond is that I was obsessed with the villains dying. For some reason, I created a book out of a notebook, and I just wrote down the villains, which movie they appeared in, how they died, what time they died in. It was just a little obsession that I had in this booklet for each movie. Any villain that died in the movie, I wrote their name down, what time they died, when they died, how they died, what movie, the runtime, who was the James Bond. I had all these different facts. And now that they have some books like The Secret World of James Bond, this one, it tells you all that information. I just did it myself. So many new movies, so many editions. I have so many different editions of the James Bond movies. I have the Blu-ray Collector's Edition. I have the Ultimate Collector's Edition for the DVDs. I have them in steelbook form. I also have a few toys of James Bond. Just so many different things of James Bond that I love collecting. For me, James Bond is just one of those nostalgic things that I loved growing up with, loved watching. It's a thing that me and my uncle go to. Every single new James Bond film that comes out, we see in theaters opening night together. You know, we've seen Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, Spectre, and I think Die Another Day we saw in theaters too. But it's just a thing that we love to do, and I love watching James Bonds. I love marathoning them all. It's just a great thing that I enjoyed. I just came across it one day at the library. I was like, this looks pretty cool. Gonna pick this out, and then the rest is history. So what is your favorite James Bond movie? What is your favorite James Bond actor? You know, there's so many different James Bond actors. All of them have their own special abilities. They're all great in their own way. I love them all. Sean Connery is definitely my favorite. Casino Royale is another great James Bond movie. Daniel Craig is a great James Bond as well. What is a fond memory you guys have of James Bond? Do you guys have any memories that you guys like? When did you guys start liking him? Just comment down below with some things about James Bond that you guys really liked. I also hope you guys enjoyed this just-in-time video discussing James Bond. I got a lot of great things that I love, and I just wanted to talk about this. And that's what I wanted to do with this series, is just talk about the things that I loved growing up. It doesn't have to be about movies. It can be whatever it is. Just something I want to talk about, and it's just in time for these videos. So remember to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to us to watch movies, more upcoming reviews, and just in time videos. Next week I'll be talking about a game system that I loved growing up with and playing a lot. I'm sure you guys can figure that out, but there's a few other ones that I love playing. Also check out my Star Wars just in time video. That was the first one that was released last Tuesday, that I talked about the Star Wars games and movies and whatever that I liked growing up. So this is Justin Watches Movies, and you stay classy, YouTube.